I don't know what happened to my last live. I was going live from my phone. For some reason, the phone cut off and did not reconnect to the live. I don't know why. Okay, so I'm just going to be redoing where the Trinity actually came from video, because the other video really didn't last long because the video was cut short by some kind of internet disconnection, interference with the iPhone. I don't know what the hell happened there. Okay, so when people think of the Trinity, they usually say it comes from Egypt, the Osiris, Isis, and Horus story. Now, the one thing I want to point out is that the difference between Trinity and this Egyptian triad, there's two different kinds of Trinities. You have a group of three gods that are worshipped equally. But you can have three gods that are one and the same entity and three separate entities at the same time, which is the way Christianity is set up right now. Now, the Egyptians actually, when it came to Osiris, Isis, and Horus, they did not view them as a three and one god. So this is not where the Trinity came from. Even if they did view Osiris, Isis, and Horus as a three and one substance, like Christianity does, it's a long shot to say it came from that particular triad in Egypt. The reason why is because, like I always remind people, the New Testament was originally written in Greek. So we have to look at Greece and Rome as the main primary source of where Christianity came from. Primarily Rome, of course, but they also borrowed heavily out of Greek mythology. The Roman religion really wouldn't exist without Greek mythology. So that's just the point I'm trying to make. Now, the earliest Christian that we know of that created the Trinity, as a matter of fact, was Father Tertullian in the 3rd century AD. You know what? I'm gonna go double check on that date real quick. I believe it was the 1st century AD. Yeah, he actually died in 240 AD. So yeah, that would be 3rd century AD, but he was born at 155 AD. So he was born in the 2nd century, mid-2nd century. So that being said, about over a century after the death of Father Tertullian, the Council of Constantinople was set up where they took the Trinity and they ratified it officially. Now, this means they elevated Christianity from being a dualistic doctrine into that of a triune doctrine. So now it's a triple deity, a tripartite deity, not a dualistic deity. Because before that, Christianity was set up with God the Father and God the Son, the two and one God at the Nicene Creed in 325 AD, which is something that even many Christians even before Nicaea believed in a dualistic God. Kind of how Zoroastrianism worked, where they believed that in a dualistic scenario of Ahura Mazda and his son Mithras, they both represented the good. Ahura Mazda, Mithras, excuse me. Mithras is the Greco-Roman name of that god. Albeit it's different. The Zoroastrianism duality is never saying that these two gods are two in one, whereas in the Christian doctrine, it's two in one. Now, if you're familiar with the Orphic verses, as I am, then you'll probably have heard of this verse before. It says the following: Zeus, Hades, Helios, Serapis, three gods and one godhead. So that comes from Emperor Julian's version of the Orphic verse in the hymn to Helios, which is it was composed in about, I think the date is 367 AD. So this is not entirely too long before the Council of Constantinople. I don't believe that's a coincidence. So the Helios Serapis, that the reason why it's said in the same phrase at the end of that spectrum is because Helios and Serapis are treated as the same God. So this is not a quadrinity, a quadruple deity. This is still a trinity. Now before that, going back to the Orphic verses, further back, before Julian made his own modification, they said that Zeus, Hades, Helios, Dionysus were the same God. In this case, Helios and Dionysus are treated as the same deity. So, so it says the following: Zeus, Hades, Helios, Dionysus, three gods in one Godhead. You can look up that exact phrase and you can confirm that this was translated from ancient text, like way before the Trinity even was regarded as a thing in Christianity, as an official doctrine. Now, you also go to the Capitoline Triad, which was the worship of Jupiter, Minerva, and Juno Regina. Now, before that is what's very much more interesting, and that is what we're dealing with when it comes to the Trinity in general. If we go to the Genesis story, in Judaism there is no Trinity. There isn't. But it's in Genesis 18:1-2. I'm going to go read it. The Lord appeared to Abraham near the great trees of Mamre while he was sitting at the entrance to his tent in the heat of the day. Abraham looked up and saw 3 men standing nearby. When he saw them, he hurried from the entrance of his tent to meet them and bowed low to the ground. Now, what's interesting about this is that so the Lord appears to Abraham, but when he looks at a particular direction, he sees 3 men. So while Judaism does not actually believe in Trinity, they don't regard God as a Trinity. Even in Genesis, there's little nuggets of a hint there that somebody viewed God as a three men in one entity, even though it was not officially ratified as a doctrine, dogma in Judaism. So this is taking us even further back. So really and truly, when you put it all together, it's like they took advantage of the fact that the Genesis story has something like the Trinity,